Welcome to another edition of Bases and Balls, brought to you by Jennings Heating and Cooling here on WAKR, and Tribe broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus taking time to join us again today. And Rosey, you and I have talked a lot about pitching during Bases and Balls, and we spent some time about Bieber, the bullpen. I don't know if we've talked enough about the guy that's really lighting it up and pitching lights out, and that is Aaron Civale. And Civale doesn't throw 98 miles an hour, but what he does do is he pitches really well. And I thought maybe you could spend some time talking about Civale.
Yeah, it's true, Ray. If you don't throw 100 and strike out 14 a game like Shane Bieber, sometimes you get lost in the shuffle. But believe me, the Indians do not overlook Aaron Civale. He's won his 3 starts so far this season. And really a credit to him this offseason. He made some tweaks to his delivery. They're not major changes, but enough where it's helped him not only, I think, pitch quality wise, but he thinks it will help him long term from a health standpoint. So kind of a double benefit there for him. And in spring training, he went through some ups and downs as he was trying to adjust to some delivery tweaks and gave up some home runs and had some outings where the line didn't look so good. But he said every time out, he felt more and more comfortable with that delivery and what it was supposed to do. So he stayed with it, and the benefits have really showed here in the first 3 starts of the regular season.
When we talk about Civale, for Bieber, it's what the cutter or the slider. Some other guys, it's the overpowering heat. What is the go-to out pitch for Civale?
I'm not sure, Ray, because he really, whenever you talk to him, he says, look, I have 6 pitches that I'm comfortable with. Now, 3 of them are different types of fastballs, but his changeup is really good. And I think that was part of the delivery adjustments, was to get the changeup to do a little bit more. And that certainly has come into play. So maybe it's that, but I think really for him, it's the ability to throw 6 different pitches at any point in the count for strikes and really keep hitters guessing.
Bases and Balls, Tribe broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus, brought to you by Jennings Heating and Cooling. I don't know if there's a team in baseball that has 2 defensive catchers like we have. And Rosey, you see these guys each and every inning. Perez, of course, is a Gold Glove winner, but the fellow we got from the Padres isn't too bad either. Talk about how the Indians look at Perez and Hedges.
Well, look, Perez, 2-time Gold Glove winner. You can probably stop the conversation right there. And obviously, pitchers enjoy throwing to him and how he guides them through games and can really read the swings of hitters to make some adjustments on what pitches they're calling. He does a great job with that. But I think as we've seen more and more of Austin Hedges, as we get further away from the trade, I know Tristan McKenzie on Saturday gave him some credit for helping him get through 5 innings. And at times, some pitches were working, some pitches weren't, but it seemed like Hedges really had a good feel for getting him through that game in terms of what pitches to call. And then blocking pitches in the dirt, he's every bit as good as Perez, it seems, and certainly that was a factor in the game on Saturday.
Yeah, these guys not only block the ball, Rosey, but they leave the ball in front of them so that there's no advancement on the base pass. That really stands out to me.
Yeah, it's one thing to just kind of throw your body in front of it and then hope for the best, but and I think it's working with Sandy Alomar. Now, obviously, there was a base for Hedges anyway, and all that, but they work with Sandy Alomar all spring, and that's a major point of emphasis. Not just blocking balls, but how do you block them properly, fundamentally sound, so that they don't kick away and result in a base runner moving up. And it's so valuable for a pitcher to know they can throw a ball in the dirt and not worry about it getting past the catcher and maybe get a swing and a miss and that type of thing. So it really, once you have that going, it feeds into some other areas that are really good.
Well, speaking of defense, I'm going to go out to center field. Jordan Luplow is off to a terrific start for us offensively, getting on base, hitting home runs. I want to talk to you, though, about his defense. And then I want you to slide into Amed Rosario and how that experiment is going with him in center field as well. Talk about these 2 guys.
Well, Luplow, I asked him the other night if there was much difference playing the corners as opposed to playing center, and he said, you know what, there is a little bit. He's more of a corner guy, has been throughout his career, but played some center field both in college and high school. So he's kind of getting back to that. And he said, look, I need to be more decisive out there and take charge more when I am in center field. So I think we'll kind of keep an eye on that here as he gets more playing time to see if he's able to do that. And for Amed Rosario, it's interesting. He hasn't been challenged yet, I don't think, with a high volume game in center where there's a lot of balls hit his way and some challenging catches to make. I mean, he's made all the plays so far. I think he's still trying to figure out, it's a different throw from shortstop than it is from center field. And I think the throws we've seen so far have come up a little bit short. So I'm sure he's still working on that. And it's hard because he's going back and forth right now. It's not as if they said, hey, go play center field and you're done. But he's still going back and forth. So I think that's something that they're working with him on. But I would say still too early to tell. But for the routine stuff, he's been on the money so far, and that's good. And we'll see if he's able to make some really good plays and take away some surefire extra base hits with some good defensive play in center field. We haven't seen that yet.
Rosey, you've been around baseball most of your life, and I thought we could expand a little bit this week. Tito is celebrating birthday number 62 this week. I thought maybe you could talk a little bit about the importance of this manager for our clubhouse, for our team, for our organization. He's really a good one.
Well, he's changed the culture for sure. I mean, right from the get-go, came in after 4 straight losing seasons and 3 of them 90 loss plus seasons. So it was not going well. And they made the postseason that first year, and they've had more regular season wins than any team in baseball since then. So that's a great place to start, right? And so why is that happening? Obviously, there's some good talent here. They've hit a sweet spot in terms of talent. But I go back to, remember Mike Aviles, the infielder who played all over the place? He was a role player. And I remember Mike saying one day, I don't know if I asked him specifically what makes Tito so good, but we were just talking about being able to be effective as a non-everyday player. And he said, you know what? The guy in the manager's office makes you feel like an everyday player. And so I thought that maybe kind of says it all right there. Here's a guy who was, I don't know, 24th, 25th guy on the team. But he said Terry Francona made him feel like an everyday player, played him just enough to feel that way. But even if he wasn't playing a whole lot, he would feel that way. And I'm guessing Mike Freeman felt the same way, another guy in that role. And I think that's a big key. He always counts on some veteran players to police the clubhouse and get some good things done. He gives that autonomy. And I know, toward the end with the Red Sox, he was criticized for that. But I think it has worked really well here. The players need to take responsibility sometimes. And it's not as if he's shirking that. I think we see that when things go wrong, he takes responsibility and admits that, hey, maybe I left a reliever in too long. I didn't do him any favors, that type of thing. He's always upfront about that. And I think all of that goes a long way towards setting a good tone in that clubhouse and making it a winning atmosphere.
Longest homestand of the season, Rosey. I want to say anything is real big because each and every game kind of adds up and is the conclusion of a great baseball season. But, you have the White Sox, you have the Yankees, you have the Twins, all coming up in this stretch. And then you have the White Sox again.
Yeah, it's a stretch where you're in the division. And when you go out, you're playing New York. It's interesting, Ray, that the Yankees and Twins are struggling. And so are the Indians catching them at the right time, or are these teams just waiting to break loose and do what a lot of people thought they would do this season? We'll see. But the Indians are catching both teams maybe at a good time. It's always so hard to tell because once you play them, all that stuff kind of goes out the window. They're good teams. They have good talent, and it'll be a challenge this week for the Indians. Pitching will be the key. They're both teams that when they're going well, and it won't say so in the stats right now for New York or Minnesota, but when they're going well, they can score runs in bunches. So the onus on the pitching staff to be sure.
Bases and balls, Tribe broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus each week on WAKR, brought to you by Jennings Heating and Cooling. Jim Rosenhaus, thank you again, my friend. We'll reconvene next week.
You got it, Ray. Thanks.
Thank you, my friend. Terrific.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ray.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.